Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm Lisa from Down to Earth Gardening and Design, and today's video is on knockout roses. So I want to talk about the care that the knockout roses require in the springtime to really set them up for success. And I have to tell you that it really isn't much, and that is one of the wonderful things about the knockout roses. So I planted 4 of these last fall, so these roses are relatively new in my own yard here. I'm in one of the levels of the boulder walls that we just finished last year. So these were planted in the fall, and I did a video on that. Check that out if you haven't had a chance. I did 4 pinks here. I believe some are doubles, and they all came back wonderfully. But I'm a little bit late to the game with my spring care on my knockout roses. And I want to tell you, first of all, that's okay. So typically my goal is to get out here late March, early April, and do my knockout rose pruning and my other rose pruning. And I did a video on pruning Hannah, my daughter's knockout roses also. And so I'm going to just talk a little bit about that video and the difference between that one and this one. So that video was on some established knockout roses. Hers are, Hannah has 2 or 3 over in her island bed, and they are mature. So they get to be about 3 feet tall and wide when they're mature. And when your roses are mature, you want to prune them every spring, and you're doing it for health, but you're also doing it to keep them down to a manageable size because they put on about 2 feet of growth each year. So that's quite a bit, right? So we want to make sure we keep them healthy, shrubby, bushy, and prune them every spring. So those roses we took down by about 1/3 or a half. These newbies here, they don't require much pruning at all. So when I first plant the knockouts, first year, I do super minimal pruning. So they're really just getting going, and they're already at a pretty desirable size here. So they've already leafed out, and that is still okay. It actually makes it a little easier to see what we need to prune. And as far as their success, it's really not going to interfere with their success. So knockout roses, what I want to say also is they are one of the easiest roses out there. And by taking a little bit of time with them in the spring, you really won't have to do much the rest of the year. And they're great because they're long bloomers. So they'll start blooming here in my zone, which is 6B, right from early June right to fall. So they're repeat bloomers. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to trim this newbie in case you have some new roses at home, or if you're thinking about planting some newbies. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about amending. So this rose here doesn't really need much, and in the video on pruning knockout roses, I talk about the 3 Ds when you're pruning. So what you're looking for first and foremost is anything dead, damaged, and diseased. So that comes first. So you take your clean, sharp pruners out on a sunny day, and that's important. You don't want to be pruning your roses on a wet day because then you're going to be transferring any potential fungal disease. So clean pruners, dry sunny day is ideal. So I'm just looking for anything dead first. So I'm going to get my materials close here. I've got my rose gloves that are important, my trug, my kneeling pad, and I like to give all of you some affiliate links if you're interested in the description. So I'm just lightly deadheading. So where it is dead, you can go ahead and cut back to a healthy branch or a healthy set of leaves. Now remember, when you're pruning, you want to make a clean cut on a 45-degree angle. So you still want to do that even though we're really just lightly pruning. And the reason for that is you want to have the water, and you can see it a little bit better here, shedding away from the plant. You don't want water sitting on a straight cut. So what I'm doing is essentially like deadheading, because when I planted them in the fall, they had some really pretty flowers on them, and I like to leave my roses alone for the winter unless I see something concerning. Okay, this is a good example here. So we're going to cut this one all the way back. And you can see that I cut this one back to a healthy spot here on the rose. I also like to cut to an outward facing bud. Okay, that's pretty much it. Now, I don't know if you remember how much I had for clippings when I pruned Hannah's roses, but it was a heaping mound. So this is it. We're really just cleaning it up. So lastly, I'm just thinking about lightly shaping it, and you really just don't have to do much. We're just thinking about aesthetics. And if I want it to be a little bushier, I could cut it down a little more, but I'm looking for a little more height this year. I want it to be close to what it should be, about 3 to 4 feet, because I really want it to stand out on these walls here from the road and also from the house. Okay, so now we move on to amending. So in the fall, I like to pull up a little bit more mulch around the base of the rose just for some added protection. And so we're just going to peel back the mulch here. So I like to push it back beyond the drip line. So the drip line is the outer edge of the shrub. Just think about the water shedding off, and that's the drip line. Okay. So it's spring. I like to do a lot of my amending now, and I really love specially formulated slow release fertilizer for roses. And this particular fertilizer also has another benefit. So it also protects against listed insects. So I love to use this. It's a 2-in-1 systemic rose and flower care. So it feeds the roses and it helps protect them. So I'm going to use a little bit of this here, and they're granules, so they are easier to work with. Okay, so it's about a half a cup per 9 square feet, so 3 by 3. So if you use the cap, you can kind of eyeball it. And you know I like to say with the amendments, less is more. And then you're just really going to sprinkle it or broadcast it right around the drip line. So the outer edge here. So evenly around the rose. And then I just like to hoe it in a little bit here with my little hand tool. And so I'm just tossing it under about 1 inch, just so it's not sitting on top. and then I'm going to put a little bit of this mulch back on. And of course we are getting ready to put mulch down in these gardens soon, so I'm not going to worry if I don't have enough to put back, because I do like to keep my mulch at about 1 to 2 inches thick. Okay, and then we're going to water it in. Now remember, when you're watering your roses, they can be susceptible to fungal disease. So if they do have the leaves on them, you want to avoid watering the leaves. So water the ground, water the drip line, you'll be watering the fertilizer in, and then that's it. If they're established and they're doing as well as this one is here, I like to tell my clients about once a week watering unless you get some rain. So that's pretty easy and exciting because they're so hardy and reliable. So I can't wait to see some roses this year. I'm really excited, and I'm going to get going on the other 3 roses out here. But I want to say thank you for joining me. I hope this video helped you today and you enjoyed it. And if you did, please go ahead and tap like and hit subscribe to our channel because we have lots more gardening coming your way.